Hi, I'm David Book, representing Tripwire. My thanks to all the participants and organizers of this complex global effort, and to the comrades joining me today to share work in solidarity, and especially to the tech team of Vince and Dan who've been holding down this incredible challenge of helping us listen to hundreds of readers from around the world. It's heartbreaking and enraging that we're gathered here once again a year later, as important as it is to continue to build solidarity, demonstrate worldwide support for the cause of Palestinian liberation and other resistance struggles against the imperial machinery of fascism and death. Yet I'm mindful that if we were simply to collectively read the names of those killed and missing in Gaza in the last year alone, that would take over 24 hours. Still, I would want to hold on to the notion of solidarity that extends beyond the demand for ceasefire, since the decades-long projects of dispossession and extermination, of genocide by other means, will no doubt continue, such that the cultural work of memory and reckoning, resistance and recommitment must continue, hopefully to bloom into even more worldwide militancy and revolt. And I want to hold on to the incredible displays of militant protest and resistance around the globe to see a future there, bringing into being new forms of collective struggle in the streets and the barricades and the encampments, and perhaps more than anything, to hold on to the unimaginable resistance and resilience of the Palestinian people. As Isabella Hamad wrote in January of this year, the present onslaught leaves no space for mourning, since mourning requires an afterwards, but only the repeated shock and the ebb and flow of grief. To remain human at this juncture is to remain in agony. Let's remain there. It is a more honest place from which to speak. So even within the throes of such grief and agony, such rage and despair, among the things I believe poetry can still do is to attempt to speak the unspeakable, however impossible a task that may seem, to mark and sound the unsayable catastrophes against forgetting and erasure, and to refuse silence in the face of such horrors. For our half hour, we're going to dispense with the bios, but you can look up our amazing readers online or in recent issues of Tripwire. So now we'll hear from Dominic Knowles, Anahid Nersessian, Rosie Stockton, Wendy Trevino, and Sedan Selef. Solidarity and free Palestine from the river to the sea and beyond.
Hi, everybody. I'm really honored, but also devastated to be here. This is an amazing accomplishment, though, and I really want to express my gratitude not only to the readers from around the world, but like David said, the people who did the tech stuff for this, truly incredible, and you have my heart. I'm going to read a couple poems, two of them by other folks, and one of them by myself. The first one is by Otto Rene Castillo. He was, a Guatemalan poet and a guerrilla fighter, and he was tortured to death by the military about a couple months before the 6-Day War in Palestine. And so I'm thinking about, international continuities with struggle. I also want to let you know that I am a poet who stutters. So if you hear, blockages, I want you to take that moment of silence to think about our martyrs and glory to the resistance. This is a poem called Apolitical Intellectuals by Castillo. One day, the apolitical intellectuals of my country will be interrogated by the simplest of our people. They will be asked what they did when their nation died out slowly, like a sweet fire, small and alone. No one will ask them about their dress, their long siestas after lunch. No one will want to know about their sterile combats with the idea of nothing. No one will care about their higher financial learning. They won't be questioned on Greek mythology or regarding their self-disgust when someone within them begins to die the coward's death. They'll be asked nothing about their absurd justifications, born in the shadow of the total lie. On that day, the simple men will come, those who had no place in the books and poems of the apolitical intellectuals, but daily delivered their bread and milk, their tortillas and eggs, those who mended their clothes, those who drove their cars, who cared for their dogs and gardens and worked for them. And they'll ask, what did you do when the poor suffered, when tenderness and life burned out in them? O apolitical intellectuals of my sweet country, you will not be able to answer. A vulture of silence will eat your gut. Your own misery will pick at your soul, and you will be mute in your shame. Now, this is one of mine. It was published in Tripwire in the last issue. It's called Conquered Mass. Consider this a form of the bleak, the olive trees scorched by hot metal, quick wattage, occult machines. While in Concord, Massachusetts, we take turns washing out a bucket of rice pudding. Consider the management of wilt. I am preparing for a job interview during another massacre, watching a concentration camp hatch within a concentration camp, the Matryoshka doll logic of genocide. Well-dressed strangers garnish my wages, whose sums accrue ballistically. My pay stubs fuse together like singing metal hornets. Consider the decades of compulsory exchange. 400 years ago, a barge pole mangled the hemisphere. Now ministries of private dread set up fascist billboards in food deserts. Consider too that all this was done for a few more yards of ghost, for a carpet bomb spirit to multiply the sun, though the sun won't blink, decides instead to rot, and everything is dust in yesterday's eye. And I have one more by Claribel Alegría, poet from El Salvador who was involved in the guerrilla struggle there with the FMLN. And this is called Visitas Nocturnas, or Nocturnal Visits, and I'll read it in English. Nocturnal visits. I think of our anonymous boys, of our burnt out heroes, the amputated, the cripples, those who lost both legs, both eyes, the stammering teenagers. At night, I listen to their phantoms shouting in my ear, shaking me out of lethargy. They issue me commands, and I think of their tattered lives, of their feverish hands reaching out to seize ours. It's not that they're begging, they're demanding. They've earned the right to order us, to break up our sleep, to come awake, to shake off once and for all this lassitude. Thank you. And solidarity.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anahid Nersessian. I'm going to read 3 poems by the poet Musab Abu Toha, and then I'm going to read one more thing. And this first one is called My Library. My books remain on the shelves as I left them last year, but all the words have died. I searched for my favorite book, Out of Place. I find it lying lonely in a drawer next to the photo album and my old Nokia phone. The pen inside the book is still intact, but some ink drops have leaked. Some words breathe its ink, the pen like a ventilator for a dozen patients. Home, Jerusalem, the sea, Haifa, the rock, the oranges, the sand, the pigeon, Cairo, my mother, Beirut, books, the rock, the sea, the sea. Two watches. He's wearing two watches, one set to the local time in New York, the other to Gaza's. In a cafe with friends, waiting for his tea at the round green table, whenever his eyes fall on the Gaza dial, he remembers the kids of his neighborhood running in the alleys, girls playing hopscotch, boys playing soccer. At night, when the light in the Gaza watch doesn't work, he knows electricity is off in his neighborhood. If the metal case grows warm, he knows bombs have started to fall. If the watch doesn't move, he knows a relative, a neighbor, a friend has died. When that happens, the watch won't work again until their body is buried. But what if there is no body anymore? He is happy to have time, a watch that works. He is happy to have time. For a moment, her small body rides in my arms as I run to the hospital. There is no electricity, and the inner hallways are a forest lined with cots. The girl I carry is dead. I know that. The pressure of the explosion tore apart her thin veins. I know she is dead, but everyone who sees us runs after us. You are alive for a moment when living people run after you. So those three poems were by Musab Abu Toha, and then the last poem that I'm going to read is by Tamara Nasser, and it's called Lover's Quarrel. Certainly, we are not too old for that day, as dense as age on your bedroom floor. My drab white dress, face like a sheet, your hands around my throat. I am not a cynic. I resent your meekness. It is the year of the rabbit, but I did not think I could afford one more romance. Listen, I am willing to forgive everything if you will remember me by Wednesday morning in Amman. We walked beneath the cottonwood poplar. A military of birds sang a chaotic song. Believe me when I say they called to you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rosie Stockton. Thank you, Pamela Press, for organizing this event. And thanks, David and Tripwire, for including me and all the poets and comrades from around the world here for a free Palestine. I'm going to read a poem by Wanda Coleman and then two that I wrote. This one's called American Sonnet 66 by Wanda Coleman. I am dying in Lala in a blizzard of sun where my killers always profit from my death. Look here at the flat little rectangle of embossed gray stone, the evidence of days. And there the ants have taken over, speeding busily to and from the oblivious hill. Something tiny yet beautiful has declared root, an absurd pinkness, and over there its white sister. And listen, the precious, costly silence broken only by the distant sigh of an airship's landing and the aria of a sad bird on its sagging wire above the unkempt yard. So many's the years one must pay till paying is up, and only the lucky find their ways underground. O thirst, O pride, I am dying in Lala in a sunblaze in a dream dreamt, then forsaken. And this one is from my forthcoming book called Fuel. It's called Spoil Spill. If my picture makes it bearable, I crumple, fruity, prepared to bear more beyond max capacity. We are living in drag time, never tomorrow, and I steep privately repetition, compulsion, how all money is oil money, and surplus fields capture surplus gender with surplus justice absorbing fallowed life, pumped from the cut-up groundwater, spliced, rationed, and sold. The layers of land incised deep, cored out lack, blinds white life, echoing with pleasantly packaged atrocity. That's the uncorporeal slurp I hear. The future market calculates an all too related execution of wealth's protection. Oh, G.I. Joe haunted that little one, that little mole, framed the out of frame, annotated all things, and left me unthinking hard in strobe light. Unmourned spoil spill, cleaned up the category of extraction and defense spending. With you I bear more, commit an unmeasuring, time's weight only measured by the club's cut, and the thing that's in the way. Do we both want to see it? Earth's redaction, each sip its own tone. Clash exchanging hands. Refuse the science, light up how text itself conceals precinct, encircled body, sharp melancholy, receiving a shame-faced splash to salvage a blossoming no. All gut, all care and full, all dancing, engaged fantasy to pass through hands. And wouldn't we unhave? We would in the cracks, would crack, and lean outside the cracking to splinter separation, the warmth to flood white time and preserve difference. Outside of self and humbly, how passive gravity becomes agency. Here I ducked the map's irreparable weight, unauthorized, unauthorable, slowed down so much a we gets swallowed in coalition's embers, not to walk the coals, but to disperse spilled heat. Footing the partial dream of we, becoming ups the ante to provoke an anti-care, overlapping radial glow, tricking the gridlocked archive. The trouble bubbles over, lies in the subjective, de-subjective rhythms. It's a brutal wood to rewire desire's rampages and blush beyond a spiny chill, how yesterday is all time. Gathering speed in arms, undueled velocity to centrifuge the arc I have that has written aloneness, interrupted to spread again. It's the unlinked chain link, bolt cutter loving, in a silence or sounding surround, we unpossess the world to find world, to walk slow, to gather the battered sea, reckless and soft, where it hurts, a shadow's warring self-sources, a large ache, this acre of cosmic space, release abound gazing, leashed down, least deranged, to feed the garden whose closed eyes see best. After image glow, all sound floods history's property, excess is redressed up, which spikes an idle view and treasure the refusing. Every labor, every duty and presence in this lifetime. Forging beauty and hunger, insurgent grief collaborates with the water's unleasable joy. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Wendy Trevino. I want to thank everyone that put work into this. I know it's a lot of time and energy, and I really appreciate everybody coming together for this reason. And glory to the resistance. I'm going to read a few poems. They're mine, some newer ones, and then I'll close with an older one. This first one's called Hin's Hall, and it's for the ones who embrace being called an anarchist. It is a roller coaster of feelings to become aware of a person on Twitter because they're fighting on Twitter and you don't agree with them. Then you see how sincere they are and you don't agree with them. And then you see them diving into a struggle and you hear about them working with a comrade who moved away and who says they are sincere and were not treated fairly. And you see how they keep going, how they embrace militancy, how they snuck into an encampment, how they understand what the encampment is for. Then they take a building. 5 months. This next one is untitled, but it's another sonnet. Didn't think I'd live to see pieces of poems I'd written in zines put together by people participating in a global student movement, where the group putting it together played a role in alienating my comrades, pushing them out of a student occupation where we'd met up not long before. People can use your words to celebrate what hurt your comrades, you. Art in its purest form is not resistance. No, resistance is resistance. You can do so much more than your words. You have to. It's all you can do to counter how some people will use them. This next one is titled For Aaron Bushnell. In just a few months, he could have been an anti-war vet and anarchist, but that he be active duty was important. It was important for the uniform. It was important to put it on. It was important to speak clearly. It was important to set the phone down just right. It was important to put the hat on over the accelerant. It was important not to panic when the lighter didn't immediately light. It was important his last words be free Palestine. It was important he die an anarchist. It was that important. And the last poem I'm going to read is called When You Hear People Say Burn Down the American Plantation, for the revolutionary abolitionist movement. Look at it this way. Sometimes you have to burn things down to rebuild. This is where the quick trip that belonged to the man who called the cops on Mike Brown used to be. The precinct that deployed the cops who murdered George Floyd used to be here. And over here, there used to be a Target. And over here, there used to be a CVS. And over here, there was a corner store that sold cans of soda for $1 a pop and white t-shirts for $10 each. A building where slave traders sold slaves during the Civil War once stood here. That used to be the deli where Latasha Harlins was murdered by Sun Jadu. That used to be a Mercedes-Benz dealership. The Wendy's where Rayshard Brooks was murdered by cops used to be here. This used to be the center of the world's automotive industry. And when the marches turned into riots, the cop cars were parked here, 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 here. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Really, really appreciate people showing up, listening, spreading the word and solidarity. I'll just end our time reading a poem from Hussein Barghouti, and I apologize for mispronouncing. Translated from the Arabic by Sunila Mubai. This was originally recorded in a cassette tape during the First Intifada in 1987. This comes from the recent issue of Modern Poetry in Translation. And the poem is called Salam to Gaza. My sister will live without me. My family will live without me. Part of me will live without me. The whole of me will live without me. Salam to those holding out in prison. My heart goes out to those who died inside. A sparrow's peck to those who remain. Peace be upon a stone, blue like ocean waves, like the sky, like mountain goats' eyes, like flights of pigeons. Peace be upon that stone, peace be upon it, upon it, upon it. Right now are the dreams of a land, hopes of a nation. Peace be upon a stone encircled by flowers that girls' eyes reach out to embrace. Salam to Gaza. The refugee camp lacks bread now, but it is enriched with blood. The camp lacks land and bread, but it now ascends to the skies. Salam to Gaza's doves. Where they flutter, they brush at my heart and drink of my water. To honor those who remain, silence outdoes words. Salam to a pair of eyelashes on a boy's face. Rafah eyelashes wet with roses and tears. Salam to those offering their bodies to coffin bearers, and a sparrow's peck to those who remain. What can I offer to the cemetery? The road into it is the very road we take to depart it like gods. The massacring hand cannot overpower the torrents of life. The streets, like the sparrows, stand still. They drink from rain, whose free drops come from clouds, floating free in a free sky. Salam to these trees. Their cry rings louder than my song. Thanks, everyone. We're going to pass the baton to small press traffic. Free Palestine.